Alright, I recently saw the new Friday the 13th movie and just felt like throwing my 2 cents in there now. I didn't have a lot of expectations for this movie considering it is a remake, and a lot of horror remakes that have come out recently have really just been below average and downright awful. The one that stands out in my mind would be the Halloween remake. But this one actually was slightly above my expectations. Jason in this movie is better than ever. I mean, he runs now, which I think is a huge character improvement and a callback to the original films in the series. I think that's much better for his character. It makes him much scarier, much more believable. And I like that he's much smarter, it seems, than he was before, back when he became a zombie character pretty much around part 7. I like that they went back to basics with Jason here. Not a lot to say about the scenery or the characters. Neither one is that interesting. There is one character in the movie that does stand out in my mind, but unfortunately he's the first person to get killed. When Jason's the most interesting character in your movie, you know you have problems. The typical Friday the 13th victims, they're just partying teenagers that don't think of the consequences and end up getting butchered for it. He's the most interesting character in this whole movie, but one thing I didn't like about him was the fact that he had an underground lair and kept a hostage that looked like his mother. That's not Jason's character at all. He doesn't keep hostages, especially ones that look like his mother. He's a flat-out killer. Although I did like how the people responsible for this movie made it a lot easier to understand how Jason does what he does. The way he has Camp Crystal Lake rigged with traps and alarms. I think that really helps make a lot of sense out of how he's always able to track people down and seemingly come out of nowhere to kill people. The death scenes are average at best. The one that sticks out in everyone's mind, it seems, is the sleeping bag death where the person is burned to death. That, to me, just does not seem like a Jason kill. That's more like a Jigsaw kill from Saw. Jason is not a sadistic torturer. He's a brutal killer. Now to the ending. There's not much to say here. I'm not going to give anything away. But it is one of the worst and most disappointing endings you could have possibly put in this movie. It's so predictable and just so obvious and seems so rushed. The movie wasn't great to begin with, but that ending just really was a disappointment. Overall, I'd say the movie isn't terrible. I'll give it 5.5 stars out of 10. It's not the best in the series, but it's way better than a lot of the more recent sequels. And that's pretty much it for me on my first simple review. Thanks for watching, and I'm sorry if I left anything out.